Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nichole Eaton, and today is election day. I know you're probably listening to this later and after, but it was a good reminder today that you do create your world from the inside out, and that if you're letting external factors control how your life gets to go, then you're doing it wrong. So we're going to talk today all about creating your life from the inside out, taking full responsibility for your joy, your happiness, and what your life looks like. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. One of my favorite quotes is in both of my books. It's by Jen Sincero, and she says, "It's not your fault if you're fucked up. It's your fault if you stay fucked up." And I love this quote because it's a good reminder that um, it doesn't matter where you've landed, but what are you going to do with it? And it's not necessarily your fault that bad things have happened to you, but what are you going to do with it? And it's not your fault that you found yourself in a crappy job or relationship, or you don't really like where you live. But what are you going to do with it? One of the most powerful things that I've ever done in my life is take myself out of victim mode. I had children really young. I went through a phase where I was really broke, desperately broke, and I remember at the time just being mad at the world, being mad that things didn't work out how I wanted them to, or I thought they were supposed to. And I was struggling so much, and it was everybody else's fault. And I had a friend at the time who kind of lovingly said, like, "You're really powerful and you're not a victim." And that little phrase changed everything for me. It was the moment where I was like, okay, so what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this life that I've created or I had a hand in? Or maybe things have happened to me and I'm dealing with it. Or maybe I've gotten myself in a mess that wasn't necessarily my fault, but nonetheless, it's a mess. But what am I going to do with it? And I think that if we can look at our lives like, what am I going to do with this? Like these things that aren't working, this job that I can't stand going to, what am I going to do with this? This is where we create our world from the inside out, is taking vicious responsibility, intense responsibility for what's next for you. Like when we're talking about taking your power back, which this entire podcast is devoted to helping you feel more powerful in your life. And one of the ways you have in regards to your power is by you taking massive ownership over what gets to happen next for you. And I'm going to break this down for you so you know exactly what to fucking do. Okay. So we're going to take radical responsibility for what comes next, not what's happened up to this point, but what comes next. This is your time. This is your sign. We're in November, guys. We're in November of a year that has been viciously long. I've been using that word lately. We're going to use vicious, right? It has been a long damn year. And this is where you take your power back if you haven't already. This is where you start to create your life again. This is where you start to remember who the fuck you are and what you came here for. You didn't come here to be sad. You didn't come here to get walked on. You have a big purpose on this earth, and your job is to fulfill it. So we start today. We start today with recognizing that today, in and of itself, is just a cake that's already been baked. Today is a culmination of your thoughts and your feelings and your actions and the things that have happened up to this point that have created today, how you feel, how you think, how you live, how you be. And the cool thing about thinking of it like this is that the thing we know about a cake that has been baked is that you can't really go back and add ingredients. Like, sure, you can add a little frosting and make it prettier. We want a different future for ourselves. If we want a different tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, we have to start adding in new ingredients. Now, we could throw out every single ingredient and start from scratch. We could make something brand new. We could, switch from like a chocolate cake to a carrot cake, which would honestly be a horrible transition. I don't recommend that at all. But I think an easier thing to do is to adjust the recipe that we're already using. A little adjustment. Now, if we add a little more salt, your cake is going to taste saltier. If we add a little more sugar, your cake is going to taste sweeter. If we change anything small in your life, it's going to start to look and feel different. So when we're talking about creating your reality, what we're really talking about is the ability to do something new, to make small shifts in your life to see massive change. So we talked about taking responsibility, but the other thing that I want you to be doing is looking for clarity. Looking for clarity. A lot of times we spend so much time bitching about what we don't want that we don't really know what we do want. We spend so much time complaining to coworkers about how much we hate our job or our friends about how our boyfriend doesn't treat us right. But like at the end of the day, I want you to be looking for, okay, well, what do I want? How would I like to be treated? What do I want my work-life balance to be? What do I want? And so I'll ask you that question, like, what do you want in these areas of your life that aren't going well? And we can use our emotions as guides. See, I used to think that emotions were an identity. And as a traditional mental health counselor, they would make me, insurance would make me make them people's identity, right? Oh, you have anxiety disorder. You're an anxious person. You are this. You are depressed. You are this. Instead, I would love for us to use our emotions as guides. I would love for us to look at our emotions and say, what is this trying to tell me about what's working in my life and what's not working? What a different way to have a relationship with emotions, right? How different is it to look at emotions like, oh, this is just like a check engine light on my car telling me that something needs to be different instead of me as who I am as a person. Like your car doesn't become its engine problem, you just fix the fucking engine. So you don't have to become this or that. You just fix something in your life. You make a change. And we can use our emotions as guides to that. We can be observers of our emotions and what they're trying to tell us instead of a victim to them. So our emotions are usually telling us that something needs to change. We need to make a shift. We need to take an action. And I think the first thing that I like to do when it comes to taking action, and I believe this is an action, is I really like to look at my mindset. What do I believe about this area of my life? If something's not going well in my life, I usually have a fucked up belief. I usually have a belief that something's not possible for me or that there's only one or two options. I have like a scarcity mindset. And so I can really track if something's not working for me, I really can look at what do I believe about it? Now, if you've been with me long enough, you know I'm going to go into my rant that the things you believe are the filter for what you see in your world. Our beliefs are the filter for our perception. That's it. That's why it's election day and people can be so strongly Republican or Democrat, right? And I'm not going to go into politics, but you get my drift, right? Is that the what we believe in our hearts and our minds is what we see in the world. It's kind of like the social media algorithm. If you stare too long at who's on, Squirrel the Peanut or Peanut the Squirrel TikTok, right? Like if you watch something too long, the social media algorithm will be like, oh, you like this? Here's more of it. Right now I'm on Billie Eilish concert TikTok because I just went to a Billie Eilish concert and now it's just showing me more of that concert because I watched it and was like reminiscing on it. And it's giving me more of what I am is already in my field. So our brain does the same thing as the social media algorithm. It gives you more things to see that match what you believe. And that's efficiency, right? That's on efficiency. That's because we've got so much information coming in per second that our brain has to make really, really quick decisions on what it needs to pay attention to. And that's exactly how it does it. It pays attention to the things that we believe. It pays attention to the new car we just got because now we have to look out for that car because it's part of our awareness. So if we know that our beliefs really, really matter, our beliefs are literally shaping our world around us and what we see. And I always like to give the example of, have you ever just had a really good day? Like a day that just started out good, you felt good, you woke up, you got a good night's sleep, and it just kind of kept getting better. Or have you ever had a really bad day where you're just in that energy where it's like, Jesus, like can't even get through the fucking morning. Everything sucks. Your brain starts to look for proof that it's a bad day. Your brain also starts to look for proof that it's a good day. And so your day kind of gets shaped by your energy and by your mindset. And the cool thing is if you've ever played around with it, you can stop the momentum of a snowball rolling down the hill by literally going into the middle of the hill and saying stop, right? Putting your foot down, breaking it up. And we can also stop the momentum of a bad day by pausing, doing something we enjoy, finding a distraction, or changing our mind, which is what we're going to talk about next. So, your mindset is driving everything you see and experience in your life. So, why would you want to see shitty things, right? Why do you want to see shitty things? You create the future of you now. How are you speaking to yourself, and how are you speaking about your life, and how are you speaking specifically about these areas of your life that you don't love? What are you saying about them? And if we know that what our thoughts repeated become beliefs and our beliefs control what we see in our world, then we know we have to start at the root of the belief, which is just something we think. And I have mixed feelings on affirmations. I think affirmations can be really powerful in the right energy, in the right spot, but I know there's been times in my life where somebody would have said a positive affirmation with me, I would have told them to go fuck themselves because I just wasn't in the space to hear that. So I think distraction when you're in bad energy can be just as powerful as an affirmation in the right energy. And you can yell at me for that all day, but I will stand by that. So if we want our brain to see new things, we have to tell it to see new things. So we can start with intentions, and we don't have to go a 180 direction that we have to suddenly believe that everything's amazing. We can simply start to shift our willingness to believe something new. I don't have to be like, oh, my job's fantastic now, and I'm so happy in it. I can say, I'm open and willing to find a job that aligns with my best and highest good. I'm open and willing to let my emotions guide me to a better fit for me. I'm open and willing to allow things to shift around me to show me whether to stay or to go. We can invite in energy, we can invite in intentions to make the shift and make the change. So your intentions matter. When we're doing intentions, we want them positive. I like open and willing to believe that this can happen. For me, that is so much more viable by my brain than me being like, oh yeah, everything's so wonderful all the time. Are there things I do talk about like that? Yes, but they're further developed beliefs, right? They're things I already can believe in. Of course this gets to work for me. I've been working so hard on it and it feels so good. But the things that are harder, the things that we really need to shift out of, we have to take a little bit more of a ginger approach. We have to be a little more kind to ourselves. We have to hold a little more compassion for ourselves. We have to gently challenge ourselves, and we have to gently introduce a better belief or a willingness to believe something a little bit better. So my challenge to you is to really look at what your mind is trying to do in different areas of your life. Look at what you believe and see how it's serving you. See what you're going to have to see if you believe that, this is the only job you can ever have and nobody else pays and there's nothing around, right? I'm never going to find another job. Your willingness to believe things can crack open your perception. And you might see things that were already there. I use this with speaking gigs, I use this Tony Robbins example, and he'll say something like, oh, I want you to look around the room and I want you to just shout out loud everything that's blue. Everything that's the color blue, even the small detailed blue. So even just take a moment now and look around and just acquire things that are blue. Shout it out. And then I want you to close your eyes after you've done that for a minute or two. And I want you to tell me what in the room was green. What you seek, you shall find. Your thoughts matter. So your thoughts matter, but your actions also matter. What are you doing to take care of yourself? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? Where's your time going? A lot of times we get caught up in Netflix, we get caught up in doom scrolling, and then we're like, oh, nothing changes in my life. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing differently? Are you spending time manifesting in intentions? Are you spending time meditating? Are you spending time on your health and working out and meal planning? Are you spending time with your family? Are you creating opportunities to hang out with your friends? Are you trying new things? Where is your time going? If you want to create a new world from the inside out, yes, you are going to have to change your mind and you're going to have to change your energy, but you also got to do some different shit. You're not going to get away with changing your mind and changing, manifesting and then doing nothing differently, doing the same things. You have to be willing to physically do things differently with your time. You have to be willing to take actions that move you forward, even if it's just one. And like I said, this is a cake that's already been baked. If we add a little more salt, it's saltier. So if you change one small thing, if you change one small thing that you're doing a day, it's going to start adding up. You're going to start seeing improvements. You're going to start finding new opportunities for yourself. You're going to start having more energy or feeling more focused or feeling more productive. But you have to narrow it down to one small thing that you can shift and one small thing that you can change to really see that. Now, when we start to change our life, our brain loves to do this little thing where it likes to make meaning out of everything. And so sometimes when we start to change our life, it's uncomfortable. When we're doing something new, it's uncomfortable. So our brain is going to want to be like, well, this is bad because it's uncomfortable. And we should go back to what we at least was familiar discomfort. But the thing about familiar discomfort is that familiar discomfort will last and then it will get worse because you're not supposed to be wherever you're not supposed to be. Unfamiliar discomfort will eventually change over to something positive. So it will be there initially, but if we make meaning out of it and decide what it means, we're never going to like see the growth and the results. And I like to look at it this way, right? When we're changing our life, like we want instant change. We are in the world where we can order something in the morning and it can be delivered to us in the afternoon. Thank you, Amazon Prime. But the reality is things do not change that fast. Your weight doesn't change that fast. Your money doesn't change that fast. I mean, sometimes it can change overnight, but if we're like looking for proof and evidence that what we're doing isn't working, we're going to find it because what you believe you see. But also if we're looking for proof that it can happen overnight, like you're on crack. I'm sorry, I'm delusional. I'm the most delusional person you'll ever meet. I believe in really big things for myself, for my life, for my friends, for my family, for my clients. But I also believe that time is real. And I also believe that some things take time. And I believe that if you get pregnant, like you're not producing a baby tomorrow. Like you're not going to have a fully functional, full-size baby tomorrow, right? We can all understand that concept. And if you plant like a pumpkin seed in the ground, like if you go stomp on it tomorrow, it's not going to come out, right? Some things take time, and our willingness to believe in them, regardless of the time that's passed, is just as important as planting it in the first place, like planting the seed in the first place. So sometimes we also have to just stop making meaning that just because we really want something to happen and it hasn't happened yet, that it means that it's not going to happen at all. I think that's a dangerous fucking game to play, because then every little thing that happens, you start to look for evidence, right? And I would encourage you, start to look for proof in the opposite direction. Start to look for proof that you're loved. Start to look for proof that this gets to work. Start to look for proof that there are jobs everywhere. Start to look for proof that you deserve more. Start to look for proof of the thing that you want, because you will also probably find that everywhere. It's just the intention of deciding to do something new and different. And we don't take a lot of time to do something new and different because most of us are too busy reacting and responding to the world around us and then doom scrolling in our spare time. And when do we sit down to actually like look at what we're thinking? And when do we actually sit down to do something different? Like we don't. So this is my encouragement to do that, to try that, to see what can happen. I think that is one of the most important things you can do, is take 40 minutes out of your day and just sit down and like, what do I believe? What do I want to believe? What would I need to believe to see something new in my life? Where did that belief come from? What do I need to understand about it? What actions do I take? How am I spending my time throughout the day? Hold yourself accountable. You are not the victim, you are the victor, and we're going to own this. The other thing that I just want you to be mindful of is, you plant seeds outside and then there's no sunlight and there's no water for years, like you're not going to see things grow. Make sure the conditions you're in are suitable for growth, which also means that if you're in a really toxic environment at home, if you're in a really toxic environment at work, if you're in a toxic environment, your seed's probably not going to grow. And if it does, it's going to grow at a slower rate. And that's up to you to do something different if you feel like you are in an environment where your seeds aren't going to grow. So this might mean you need to make a big choice. This might mean you need to X people out of your life. This might mean that the people you're surrounding yourself with aren't people you can grow with. I remember when I was like, 18, 20, I was around people who just partied all the time. And then when I got pregnant, I had no friends because I was not out partying all the time, right? And so when you're doing something different in your life, it's going to be hard to keep the same company that you had when you were doing other things. And so, different phases of your life and different seasons of your life call for different kinds of people. And that doesn't mean you have to X people out entirely, but if you're trying to, not drink, you're not going to want to surround yourself with people who that's what they do when they're bored, or that's what they do every Saturday and Sunday. Like, you're going to have to find some new people to surround yourself with, or you're going to have to ride it solo for a few. And I know that's really scary because we love people and we love to have people around, but sometimes being by yourself is a really, really powerful thing to realize, like, that maybe you are okay doing your own thing and you are okay no matter what, and you are okay. You're okay. It's all good. You get to create your reality. So make sure you're supported. Make sure that you have people around you who aren't laughing at your dreams. Make sure that you're limiting time with people who don't get it, who don't understand you, who don't want to see you win. Like, make sure you're limiting your time. And make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are similar to where you want to go. I think that's really important. I learned that a lot the last few years when it comes to business, of the ways that I was doing and growing my business were good, but they weren't great. And the last few years, I've really gotten into understanding business, surrounding myself with people who are running incredibly successful businesses. And it's made me up my game. It's made me learn new things, learn new systems, learn new automations, learn how to do things better. But it's also made my mindset different around business and what that means. So you have to look at the season you're in and the people you're around, and maybe people you do need around. Maybe this looks like joining more networking groups if you're into business. Maybe this looks like, a mom's club that does things other than drink wine and, not wash their hair. Like, not shitting on moms at all, by the way. Like, that is just, there's a toxic mom culture out there that resorts to that. So finding the people around you that help you grow. You are creating your world. You are not victim to it, no matter who's president, no matter what's happening. Like, you still have choices. You still have things you can do. You still have a world to create. And it's up to you to create it. And I believe in you. And if you need help, obviously I'm here for you. I've got the Comeback Club, which we are doing a gratitude workshop. It is included in your membership. Even if you just want to swing by for a month, you can get access to that in the link in the bio. My book, also, Your Comeback, The Down to Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power, is also in the link in the bio. And I'm really excited for you. I think you're going to create something incredible in your life, and I can't wait to be part of it. So I will catch you soon. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, review, share. It's all so helpful to me. Bye.